Recording in progress.
The legend, me.
Who, me? How you doing,
How you
Joe?
doing, man?
Great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too.
Where are you calling from?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's kind of where the that big four-wall thing kind of started. Was out that way for you, right?
We started in Fort Wayne,
Oh, okay.
and we did Fort Wayne and Jacksonville. Those were the first two, but that was 20 years ago. Started
Right.
20 years ago.
Right. What a journey you've had.
It's crazy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have with me the blues rock titan, my quasi-paisan, and my old friend, because let's face it, we're kind of old. Joe Bonamassa, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, Tommy, I don't know how old you are, but I woke up in May of this year, and I realized car lease away from 50.
That we're what?
One car lease away from 50 years old.
I'm in my 50s. So have you hit that yet?
No, I'm 47.
47, yeah. So I made the mark, and but look at Buddy Guy. He's out there at 88. You got Bobby Rush doing it at 90. Look what we have to look forward to.
I'm well out before 88. I got maybe 10, 12 years left, and I'm decent out.
Well, hey, you are coming to Rochester to the Wester Auditorium on the 25th. That's a Sunday. Not a lot going on a Sunday, although it's summertime. I would encourage people to grab their tickets before it's another Bonamassa sellout. And it's an 8 o'clock show. So let's start with a quick human interest story. That Rick Beto thing. He's from Rochester, great music educator, influencer. You found a bass that belonged to someone in his family from the House of Guitars.
Well, we've all been staring at that bass at the House of Guitars for about 45 years. And I talked him out of it in 2017 and brought it back to California and basically stuck it on a stand this year in my little music room.
Yeah.
And Reverb did a special about my house, which is full of guitars and amps and everything. And I think one of Rick's friends was watching it, and they had been talking about this lost bass that belonged to Rick's uncle. And this guy, who was also another podcaster, said, "Hey, I think that's the bass, your uncle's bass." And Rick called me and said, "Hey, listen, I got a cool guitar story for you. Check out this photo." And I go, "Wow, that's really cool. I think that's your uncle's bass." And he goes, "Yeah, it went missing in the 70s. And I said, "Well, do you want it back?"
Wow.
And he's like, "Well, I don't really collect that stuff, but let me talk to my brother and I'll get back to you." Cool. Next morning, he calls me back and says, "We'd like to get the bass back." I'm like, "Done. I love to see that stuff go back to the rightful place."
That's the kind of guy you are.
It needs a forever home. And now it's with the Beato family. And that's where it belongs. It doesn't belong in my house. You know, it belongs in there. It's a family heirloom. It belongs in their home. You know?
That's great. And you know, that also coincides with your attitude about Rory Gallagher's Stratocaster, that it belongs in Ireland.
It should never leave Ireland.
Yeah. Hey, so
it's an heirloom. It's a national treasure.
yeah, you are 100% right, and I'm sorry if I'm trying to jump forward because I know we're limited on time. I just want to let our listeners know. I mean, you have done so much since the last time you were visiting with me on WBLZ. I mean, you've done Eric Clapton's Crossroads Festival, where you played with John McLaughlin, doing a tribute to the late great Jeff Beck. That was an awesome performance. I enjoyed watching that. And you opened for the Rolling Stones recently, which had to have been just epic. Oh my God.
Oh, it was just, I mean, just to get the call out of the blue. We were off in May. And we had one show booked in May, which was the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. And I remember my manager coming off the elevator in Paris about 4 weeks before the Stone show and said, "Hey, do you want to open for the Rolling Stones May 15th? Like, Absolutely. Let's boogie.
Yes.
Say no.
Yeah, how do you say no to that? Oh my
Can't
God.
say.
And I also want to let people know that you've got another album out, but this one is even though they're all great, you know, I mean, you really put out quality productions from top to bottom, a total class act. But this one is different. You played the Hollywood Bowl. This is live at the Hollywood Bowl with a live symphony orchestra, you know, live
Yes.
without a net, folks, again.
Mhm.
And this became what is now your 28th #1 Billboard Blues album.
Crazy. And it was my very first #1 classical album, which was crazy and even crazier. Like, this is the way I look at it. I spent a whole career pissing off blues purists. This year, I simultaneously offended blues purists and classical purists at the same time.
Well, man, you know, congratulations. I mean, not for pissing people off, because you know we tend not to want to do that, but I mean, it's like think about that accomplishment. That's why it's such a special thing, because you've got the diversity between the blues, which is the, you know, the rootsiest and the folkiest of folk music, you know, and then you have classical, and you dominated both of those spectrums. I mean, so that's a wonderful thing. And when I end up wearing a hat, it's coming off to you.
Thank you. I didn't expect that, but it was a really great accomplishment. You know, I'm from upstate New York, but I've been out in LA for almost 25 years.
Yeah.
And to play the Hollywood Bowl was such a, you know, a big deal for me, because our first show in LA, you know, as a solo artist, that's after all the Young Smoke and Joe stuff, was at the Mint in Hollywood. Nobody showed up.
Right.
And then back 25 years later, I could headline the Hollywood Bowl. It was a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I mean, you've come like what an epic journey that you've been on since you played with me 32 years ago at the boarding house.
Right.
You know, in Buffalo. And by the way, I've got to email you, get your email, your current one, and email you some videos of what that place looks like now. There's a hole in the floor where we played. I mean, it's just demolished. The place is just, it's wrecked. But,
you know, I heard the Trout is gone, and all
the
those.
Lafayette Tap Room is gone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, it's sad because you don't have those kind of places where people can go from city to city and make a run across the country anymore. They're all gone. You know, we're in Oklahoma. We're not Oklahoma. We're in Omaha today, and you know, the Ranch Bowl is gone, which was the 200-seater that we always played.
Yeah.
And now that's a Walmart.
A Walmart.
It's a Walmart.
Well, at least they sell your records there.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, it's still sad because those things were so ingrained into our DNA, and that was our proving ground back in the day.
Yeah, it wasn't 1 minute Instagram influencer stuff. I mean, it was real, dyed in the wool, you know, play legit live, you know.
No net, and not for the grant.
Right. Well, hey, let's get on to guitar gear while we got a few minutes. You recently put out a pedal, the Conspiracy Theory pedal by Way Huge, which just sold out, and that's what a clone of your clone.
Yeah, it's called a Deep State, and we did a special reverb exclusive, and I didn't expect them to sell out in 2 hours.
Wow.
But they are really good. And George Tripp really recreated a clon in a small box, to the point where I don't use the clon anymore.
No kidding.
It sounds good.
No kidding.
And I would still use the clon if it didn't.
Well, do you, because you know, obviously you're one of the foremost collectors and know more about, you know, guitar tone and amps and how to get certain sounds and record them than probably just about anybody, or as much as anybody. But let's shift to some newer technology. Is there anything you're excited about? I just talked to Kenny Wayne Shepherd earlier, and he was you know, he kind of was toying around with the Tone Master Fender pedal and some other things. you know?
There's some really good stuff. And like the neural quad cortex supposed to be good. A lot of the modeling stuff is really so far ahead of what it used to be. And there's a purpose for all of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm lucky enough where I'm a solo artist and I can drag around 7, you know, but not everybody can do that. And I would be an idiot to say, well, that's not the way you should do it. And you know, play way too loud. But that's what I do. I play too loud my whole life.
Well, I remember I was at the Hearthstone Manor when you bought that Marshall Silver Jubilee, you know, and the guy was carrying it around and it was kind of heavy, and he dropped the price just because he was, you know, getting fatigued. You know,
$400, and it's still in my rack. It will be on stage tonight in about an hour.
All right, wonderful. Well, you know, I hope to see you on the 25th. My girlfriend really wants to see you. She missed out on the opportunity the last time when you had me there. So I'm going to get in touch with you on doing that. But let's talk about something different than music. I recently saw some pictures on Instagram of you tarpon fishing down in the Keys with your dad. How awesome is that?
We do it every year, and my dad's dream was to go tarpon fishing one time. And we do it every year now. That's around year 6. And he used to watch this show, Mark Stoson's Saltwater Journal. And we fished with the same guy that used to take Mark out for those TV shows.
No kidding.
And it's a great father-son bonding trip. Couple of our friends from Houston come with their sons, and we have a great time for 2 days.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of fishing down there myself in the Keys, and you can actually fish from the bridges and under the bridges, and you know the 7 Mile Bridge and Tom's Harbor Cut and Harbor Channel and all those places, and just get into some monster tarpon. And it's a feat just to hook them and land them, because you can hook them all day, but their jaws are like glass. So to actually hook one and land it is a feat.
Yeah, I mean, I think I land 4 out of 10 that I hook. So it's like 40%. But I'm not there to. I don't care. I don't care if I reel them in. It's fun to see them jump out of the water a few times, and then if the hook comes out great, saves me the work.
that is spectacular. You're more into the hooks and riffs of music, I would assume.
Exactly, but we fish under the 7 Mile Bridge, and that depends on the time of year and the tide. It's a blast, but I would never swim in those waters.
Oh no,
too many bull sharks.
Oh yeah,
it's quite the ecosystem down there.
You don't play around in those waters, man.
No.
If you ever want to go trout or salmon fishing, you know, when you've got some time off in the spring or fall. In fact, you're going to be coming back to Buffalo. For those people that can't make Joe's August 25th show in Rochester, he's going to be coming back to Shays February 25th, I believe is the date. But so if anytime you want to go salmon, trout fishing, spring, fall, let me know. We'll go out.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, by the way, I hear the weather in Buffalo is wonderful in February.
Well, you would know. You're from Utica. That's not far away, my friend.
That's right.
So, hey, speaking of like water and recreational kind of stuff, I noticed you guys have a day off on after your gig in Rochester, and then you're going to Albany the day after that. If you're looking for something to do, especially this time of year, my girlfriend and her family just went out on the Whirlpool jet boat ride. It's on the Niagara River. They take you on a 1,500 horsepower triple turbo. Each engine is a triple turbo jet boat, and you go up into the Class 5 rapids of Devil's Hole, and then on up into the Whirlpool where it's 126 feet deep. Okay, and you get to see, you know, things in the Niagara Gorge, Class 6 rapids, and they do donuts with the boat. Take your crew and your, you know, your band and have a blast. It's just a suggestion.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I'm not sure what we're doing after the gig. We normally just travel overnight to the next gig, but it sounds like fun.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, do it sometime if you think of it and get to do it. But I'll give my sign off now because I know we're watching the time here. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Joe Bonamassa for taking the time to be with us today. Don't forget to get your tickets for his show. It's going to sell out. You know it's going to sell out. The West Tour Auditorium in Rochester on August 25th. And anything else you'd like to say to the folks, Joe?
Well, it's always nice to come back to upstate New York. It's the only place in the world I can't tell people I'm from Los Angeles. They just don't buy that anymore.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. I got to run. I got to play in a minute, but I'll send you a picture of that Jubilee.
Yes.